This is Chasing Health and Longevity. This is episode 4, and I'm going to be talking about ketones and ketone testers. So ketones and ketosis, what are the best ways to measure ketones and know if you're in ketosis? We want to know if we're in ketosis so we know if we're burning fat. I do this because I follow a ketogenic low-carb diet that stresses metabolic flexibility. I strive to be in ketosis for about 14 hours per day. Today, I will be comparing the typical ways to measure ketones. I'm going to be comparing urine testing, breath testing, and blood testing. I'll share with you the ups and downs of each technology as I've experienced it, and the costs and accuracy of each. My goal is to teach my body to easily switch back and forth between using glucose as a fuel to using ketones or fatty acids as a fuel. I want to have a period of each day where my body is looking for fuel and it turns to fat, so we can have some fat burning time each day. It's in those times that I'm expecting that I'll find a significant amount of ketones in my body that I would say I'm in ketosis, and indicating that my body is starting to burn fat. To help teach my body this flexibility, I've adjusted my eating pattern with intermittent fasting. My first meal of the day is at 12 noon. This is because I'm practicing a 16/8 intermittent fasting schedule each day. So that means 16 hours of each day I'm not eating any calories, followed by an 8-hour window where I am eating. That 8 hours I'm eating is really quite enough. The 16 hours, half of it I'm sleeping, so it's really not that long that I'm not eating, really skipping breakfast, with my last meal between 7 and 8 p.m. So during my 12 noon meal, I will eat a decent amount of fibrous carbs in the form of vegetables or fruits. I'm trying to keep net carbs, which remember is the total carbs minus fiber, under 40 grams a day. Actually, I'm trying to get closer to that 30 grams a day right now. I'll eat a snack around 4 p.m., about 120 calories, going to be nuts and seeds mostly. Then I eat a dinner. The dinner is going to be high in fat content, medium protein, and some sort of carbs, again in the form of fibrous vegetables. Then I'll fast until noon the next day. Eating this way, I expect that my body will be in varying levels of ketosis from about 10 p.m. at night till around noon the next day when I start to eat again. I'm not counting calories at this point, as my weight loss is pretty much stabilized around a pound per week. I'm happy with that. It's not causing me any troubles. I'm not having any bad side effects, and I'm going the right direction. So I feel like this is a good number and a good place for me to be. I'm going to stick there for right now. So to see if I'm in ketosis, I've tested 3 different methods. Urine testing, basically peeing on a keto strip. Breath testing by blowing into a keto breath analyzer. Or blood testing by lancing a finger and testing blood with a blood ketone meter. One note that both in the urine and the blood, they measure in an mmol/L, or millimoles per liter, a unit of measure that shows the concentration of a substance in a specific amount of fluid. The breath analyzer, though, uses a parts per million, or a ppm reading. So first, the urine. As I expected this to be the least accurate, and also to have somewhat of a time delay when compared to the blood or breath testing. I have 2 different types of urine strips I wanted to compare, as there's a pretty big difference in cost. Either way, this is the least expensive testing method, regardless of which type of strips you use. But initially on the least expensive side was the Perfect Keto brand. These were $8.69 for a pack of 100 strips. The next was the Keto Sticks brand, $22.59, also for a pack of 100. With urine strips, it's also a little bit hard to tell exactly what level of ketosis you're in, because you might get higher readings if you're dehydrated. It's going to have more concentration of those ketones in less water, giving you a higher ketone percentage. Also, the testing method: pee in a cup, then dip the strips into the cup, wait for 15 seconds for the Keto Sticks brand, wait for 40 seconds for the Perfect Keto brand. Then you're going to compare the color of the strip to the color code on the chart provided on the bottle. Obviously, this is not exact science. We're trying to get as close as we can, and a lot of times we're looking at colors that are in between what's on the chart on the bottle. But because this type of testing requires color matching, and I never saw the exact same color as on the chart, I had to interpolate a little bit between the different numbers. This adds some guessing to the equation, but you get a good sense of where you're at. Next, the ketone breath analyzer. So the breath analyzer does not read ketones the same way as urine strips or the blood meter, as we just mentioned. With the breath analyzer, we're going to get a parts per million, or ppm. The cost of the breath analyzer is $49.68, and it comes with 10 different mouthpieces. I guess this is sharing. The ketosis reading instructions, here's what they look like. Here's the guide from the manufacturer. So from 0 to 1.9 ppm, you're not in ketosis or just right before ketosis. From 2.0 to 3.9, you're in early stage of ketosis. From 4.0 to 9.9, you're in a light stage of ketosis. This is where you're really starting to burn body fat. And from 10 to 39, you're in an optimum level of fat burning for ketosis. And 40 and above, you're in a high zone where they're saying caution, anything above 40 parts per million. To use, you turn the keto breath analyzer on, you wait for it to normalize during a 20-second testing period, and then you blow into the mouthpiece for 5 or 6 seconds. You have a short wait, and then the ketone parts per million will be displayed on the LCD display. Next is the keto BM, or the blood ketone meter kit. This method involves lancing a finger for a drop of blood that is then analyzed by the meter. The Keto BM kit costs only $26.97. But don't be fooled. You have to keep purchasing the lancing and the test strips. The test strips are $39.97 for a pack of 40, basically $1 each. Lancets are $14.97 for a pack of 100. There is a bit more process to test with the blood meter. However, it does come with a very nice carrying case for the meter, the test strips, the lancing device, and the lancets. So when I'm getting ready to test my blood, I'll remove all the items from the kit. I insert the lancet into the lancing device, making sure that it's in at the deepest level. You have some level adjustments there. Insert the test strip into the meter. This basically turns it on and it gets into a countdown mode. Choose the finger you want to pick on today and lance it. So I had to make sure that the lancing device was set to the deepest level, or it would not get enough blood, and nothing sucks more than lancing 2 or 3 times to get a single drop of blood. Squeeze that finger, get a drop of blood, get that drop of blood onto the area just in front of the arrow on the test strip. The meter will beep, letting you know that you have enough blood in the right place for the testing to begin. There's a short countdown and a little wait, and then the reading will be displayed. So after using all 3 of these devices, what are my results? So first, most importantly, accuracy. On the first day, I had 2 times during the day that I tested back to back to back. So I did back to back to back twice to test consistency. The tests were done approximately 5 minutes apart as I kind of cycled through all the different tests and different testing devices that I had. So as I expected, the blood meter was extremely accurate. It provided the exact same reading each testing cycle that I did with it. I was also pleasantly surprised to find that the urine testing was also very accurate, providing the same readings over and over, or at least as close as you can get with color matching. Also, both brands seem to test the same, so the cheaper brand tested just as well as the more expensive brand. The breath analyzer was quite another story. Sad to say, I had high hopes that I could toss that blood meter in the trash and not have to lance any more fingers. That's not the case. The breath monitor just never read the same, even back to back and within seconds of each other. I had one testing where I had a reading of 64, which remember, that's back in the caution zone, too high of ketones. And within 10 seconds, I had a reading of 0. So really inaccurate. That inaccuracy continued throughout the testing process, and I just wasn't happy with it. Basically, it really negated this device and the rest of the tests that I was going to do on it. Time lag for the urine strips. There did seem to be a small time lag between when the blood meter would show level increases or decreases and the urine would show corresponding decreases or increases, but it really wasn't as bad as I thought. Maybe it was an hour or less. So the testing results. Here are my testing results. I did 5 tests each day over a 2-day period. I did notice a bit more variation on the urine testing compared to the blood, but overall the results really made sense and I thought they were quite good. My conclusion, I had hoped that the breath analyzer could have been an accurate and reliable replacement for the blood meter. That proved far from true. On the bright side, the urine testing was much better than I thought it would have been, and even the less expensive brand tracked right alongside of the more expensive brand. Going forward, I'll rely more on the urine strips for knowing if I'm in ketosis, so generally if I'm barely in or if I'm deep in ketosis. If I'm trying to measure something that's more subtle difference, like I've made a change in my diet or I want to test a particular substance or something that I'm doing, then I'll pull out that blood meter, lance a finger, and get a really accurate reading that I can rely on. I think knowing ketone levels will be an important part of my health journey for a long time. Of course, reliable testing is critical to weight loss, especially on the plan that I'm on today. I hope this information was helpful for you as it was for me. As always, please hit subscribe and click the bell for notifications and like this video. I've got some new things I just can't wait to share with you. See you soon.